Stay in your country and build your country. Immigrants, it's not hard. Stay in your country and build your country. Nobody is forcing you to come to the US. Black Americans never begged you and said, oh, we need immigrants to come, oh, we want to see them. Nobody begged you. You were the one that chose to carry your bag, your baggages. And why do you think it is now a thing of discussion? A thing of discussion for you to always shame Black America, attack Black Americans, always reminding them that them not knowing where they come from is not making sense. Why? I have never seen any Black Americans that move to a particular country and then start asking them, oh, do you know where you're from? Do you know this? But it is more annoying that these immigrants that are looking out for greener pastures in America, that are getting something out of America, focus solely on Black Americans. What is their offense? What has Black Americans really done that every single race want to rub them in one way or the other? Why are you guys not asking white folks, where are you from? What's your ethnicity? What's your cultural background? Do you know about your tradition? Oh, because white folks are privileged, right? And Black Americans are not privileged. There's some discussion that need to die off in 2026. And the more I keep seeing it, the more I keep hammering on it, and I'll keep bringing this for exposure. Because it's not making sense. It's not. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And for disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes only. Let's watch this video and I'll be back with commentaries because I have a lot to say at the end of this video. Let's go.
Y'all want to know what's funny? This is some funny shit. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. This is funny. They say we don't know our parents, yet we know who our mothers are. They say we don't have no language, but we all understand each other, except for them. We don't understand them. And if everybody was from Africa, why the fuck didn't they keep their accent? Shouldn't we all be walking around boom tongue on tongue chong? Muba, 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 tu mu mu. I'm from Uganda. I'm from Uganda. Like, shouldn't we all be walking around like with some type of accent if we all from Africa? Like, when did we all ever have like arranged marriages? Black Americans don't know who they are, but we know our people. We know our people. We speak English. We speak English. And depending on where you're from, that is the accent that we go by. Like, for instance, I'm from Detroit. When a person from the South hear me, they know I'm automatically from the Midwest. When I hear a person from California, I automatically know they're Californian. When I hear a person from Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Louisiana, I know they from Louisiana. Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, I know they from the South. I even know if you from the country of the South. Oh, we know each other. Oh, we know. So if we came from Africa, wouldn't we have some type of connection to want to go back home? Because I know in those movies, they be wanting to go back home after they get freed, and they actually go back home, or they go to London. We want to stay here because this is where our ancestors are from. But they tricked us and said we don't have no culture. We don't know our language. This is our language, bitch. They gotta be jealous of something. It was them all along.
claim our roots a lot more. But we are more kind of like culturally diverse.
But is it weird when African Americans don't know where they're from in Africa?
Yeah, strange.
It's not really our fault though.
What ethnic race in the UK, like we tend to bond more with other people when we talk about like what country we're from.
British Africans here get mad at me when I say I'm American. My granddad's been in America.
You're an American citizen.
Do you know what you are? No, ethnically.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would find that strange. I feel like I wouldn't really have a personality.
What?
Yeah, because
You wouldn't have a personality because you don't know where you're from.
I take pride in where I'm from.
This is a prime example of why I don't trust black people who are of the diaspora but not black American. This is why I don't trust a lot of y'all. Let's do a thought exercise. Let's say it is 200 years in the past, meaning it is 1826. That means I would have been born in 1794 because I am going to be 32 years old this year, 1794. Now, let's say my mom had me when she was 20. That means she would have been born in 1774. That's before the American Revolution was finished and America became its own proper country, right? Let's say her mom had her at 30. That means my grandma would have been born in 1744. 1744. That means my grandma is likely from Africa. Grandma gets sold here after being taken from Africa. She gets sold onto a plantation after being separated from her people. So she's on a plantation with people who are not from the same part of Africa she's from. She's separated from her group, and she is told that she is not allowed to speak her native language. So she has to learn English, and she's not allowed to learn how to read or write. So she's speaking English, probably broken, with other people who are speaking broken English, who do not have the same cultural roots that she has outside of just being from the fucking continent, because they're from different parts of Africa. She and my grandpa have my mom. My mom at 3 years old, 4 years old, who is not allowed to learn either one of her parents' languages, is not allowed to know where they're from, because they're not allowed to speak the languages and talk about their history under threat of death. Then gets sold to a different plantation when my mom is 4 years old. Meaning my mom is only 4 years old, has no connection to her root, and gets separated from her family, who are now states away. And then she has me later. In 2 generations, we have nothing. That's 200 fucking years ago. So you bring that to today, right, where we even further separated from that. How the fuck am I supposed to know where I'm from culturally? Outside of paying the white people who kidnapped me for the fucking DNA test to find out. Then you have the unmitigated gall to judge me, and y'all still can't rap. Like,
let's say you're a young girl and you get kidnapped from your village in 1802. And you make it through the Middle Passage. Let's call you Amaka. You are on a boat crammed in with people from all over the west coast of Africa, right? And you don't speak the language that everyone else speaks on your boat, but you do find someone from, close by who understands you. They take care of you. You survive. You make it to Charleston, South Carolina, where everyone who was there gets separated. They see you with the young lady or young man who was taking care of you, and they separate you. Because if you are housed with someone who speaks the same language, you are then able to communicate. If you're able to communicate, then the likelihood of you organizing a revolt and overthrowing your slave master is high. So they don't allow that. So you get placed on a plantation, not in Charleston, but far, far away in, let's send you to Birmingham. All right. So now you're in Birmingham, Alabama. You have a master there. You don't speak the language that everyone else speaks, but you are trained to be a cook in the house, right? So the cook helps you train. You're one of the girls who are there. There is a older black lady, an older woman who has maybe first or second generation enslaved person. She speaks English. You do not. She takes you under her wing, teaches you how to cook, and she protects you from the master's sons so they don't mess around with you. And you actually make it to 15. And you, at 15, now are old enough to be bred too bad for you, because this is not a nice plantation. So they call in one of the biggest and broadest enslaved men from a neighboring plantation, who is rented out to other farms in order to make sure that they have very big, very broad babies. You don't get to choose your husband. You don't get to choose who is with you. If he's kind, you are going to be placed in a cabin with him, and he will be gentle and explain to you what's going to happen, and you will be assaulted. Maybe you end up with someone that is not very nice. Big John, let's call him, and you are assaulted because he takes out all his frustrations from his terrible situation out on you. Now you, let's say you're Igbo, right? Your name is Amaka. You are pregnant and you remember what it was like in your village. You want to pass this down onto your child. The bred or the stud or the enslaved man that has been brought in to do this to you is not Igbo. He is, let's say that he is Mandinka. But not just Mandinka, he's also Irish, because his mother was not as lucky as you were, and she was assaulted in her enslavement house, right? So now your child is Igbo and Mandinka and Irish, right? So now you have this baby. But yeah, too bad for you, because that man who owns you has a gambling problem, and now you are sent with your baby to settle his gambling debt to another plantation. On this plantation, you are going to have to bend to the will of this slave master. Now, this one claims to be a benevolent slave master and thinks that every slave on his plantation as his child. So he decides that you are no longer Amaka, you are Betty Ann. And he's also going to change the name of your child because you wanted to pass down something from your people. So you named your baby after your mother, but no, your baby cannot be named after your mother. It is going to be named Annie, right? So now your language is gone. No one you know has ever spoken it since you were 7 years old, and you're starting to forget it. And you can't even name your own child. Someone on the plantation sees you speaking what little you remember of your language to your baby, and you are whipped. And you are whipped so severely that you vow never to speak your own language and never to allow your child to speak that language, lest they be whipped in the same way that you were. Now you have this Igbo, Mandinko, Irish child who does not have any connection to her people from the village that Amaka was born, doesn't speak the language, doesn't have any of the foods, but there are some little remnants. You know, you do her hair in the way that of your people, those sorts of things. But your child is unlucky, just like you were unlucky. And that so-called benevolent slave master on that plantation dies. And everyone on the plantation is sold, including your child, from you. Now, this is how your lineage is introduced to America. Now imagine generation after generation after generation of mixing, sometimes voluntary, a lot of times involuntary, and all of those different tribes are mixed up together. And they become a new people. They piece together the stuff that's not beat out of them, and they make that into a new culture in the Gullah Geechee culture, in New Orleans, in Harlem, everywhere else. And we start to build new things, tap and jazz and macaroni and cheese and, second lines and all of these different things that we built up together. That is why we don't know where we come from. because where we come from is right here.
Okay, so y'all seen the video of that man passionately talking about how Black Americans had no culture. I think I have something clicked in my mind regarding why the rest of the diaspora keeps saying that we as Black Americans have no culture when we as Black Americans clearly can see what our culture is. It's very confusing for us. And I think that part of the issue is that we do not have an immigrant story as Black Americans. Black Americans are not immigrants. Black Americans are Americans. We literally were here before America was America. We were here at the inception of this country. We are Americans, period, point blank, period. But every other part of the diaspora has an immigrant story. They definitely have one when they come to America. So if you are from outside the America and you are a black person that you come from outside America, African or Caribbean, or even like a Black Brit who has an immigrant story to the UK, there is a term called cultural fossilization. It's something that I've heard immigrants, not just from the diaspora, but also Latino immigrants describe, that I never connected it to why people say Black Americans don't have culture until today. Cultural fossilization is when, let's say your parents immigrated to America from Nigeria in the 80s. Okay? Whenever they did that, their culture was kind of frozen in time. So whatever culture they had in Nigeria when they came to America, they maintain that culture, and they maintain that culture with all the other people that are around them, all the Nigerians that are around them. So their culture is like solidified, and they pass that on to their children, and that's the culture. Meanwhile, back home in Nigeria, the culture is evolving, just like Black American culture is evolving. So your culture kind of gets concentrated. If you come from another place and you come to America, your culture from back home kind of gets concentrated into this one solidified culture. It doesn't evolve. It just stays frozen. That's why they call it cultural fossilization. And I've heard Latinos say this as well. Like they would have this culture, and when they go back home, they speak in ways, the slang is different, everything's different, and people are looking at them like, why are you talking like it's 1985? That's the year their parents immigrated here. So their culture stays the same. And the reason why they say that Black Americans have no culture is because our culture evolves like any culture would. Our slang evolves, our style of dress, our, music, our hairstyles, just the way that we are, our thoughts, our feelings, the way that we move, it changes because cultures evolve as time goes on. But if you came from another place, your culture didn't evolve. It stayed frozen in time, in the time that you came here. So that, I think that's part of the reason why they say Black Americans have no culture, because their culture is like put in glass, and they do the same cultural norms that they did 40 years ago. They continue that, and they think that like, immortalization of that time and of their culture is culture. They don't see it as the evolving of a group. And I think that's part of the problem. And I think that's also very unfortunate, because you're seeing that you don't have the evolution of your culture. Your kids come here, and then by the second, third generation, they start to take on the characteristics and mannerisms of Black Americans because our culture stays evolving, and you don't like it. So then you lash out at us. That's just my perspective. Tell me what you think of cultural fossilization.
Who is paying these Black immigrants to come on here and just say bullshit? Because I'm not like, the reason why at first I was like, nah, this is probably like, I don't think this is set up, was because I've seen how y'all talk with like the South African shit. I've seen how y'all talk during that shit with Tyler, how like y'all make fun of slavery. Y'all are actually like, y'all do be racist. Y'all do be very sick. But the influx of African immigrants that I'm seeing during this time in like specific, where y'all really should not be like, this is the one time y'all should leave the racism behind. Like, this is the one time y'all should not be super like ignorant and hateful towards foundational Black Americans. But instead, it's on an uptake. It's like, and they're getting so like, I've never seen so many African immigrants go so hard on Black people for no reason whatsoever. And now they're saying it's because of FBA. Is this a setup? Like, is this a setup? Because like every time y'all make videos comparing the descendants of slaves to MAGA, to a cult, and you say shit like, oh, y'all are weird, so Black History Month isn't for Black people, when y'all literally have African Heritage Month, a month for you to celebrate your African heritage. When y'all say shit like that, it just comes off as disgusting. It just comes off like, why are y'all like that? Like, and I see another video of this Nigerian girl talking about, you guys are lazy, I came here, I got a job, I became rich, just all this shit. And like her whole point was just like a whole video of her talking down on poor foundational Black Americans and acting like every single foundational Black American was beneath her on a class, like in a class for like concept. Like no foundational Black American has more money than her or is doing better than her in America. And that's just bullshit. So then it starts feeling like, is this a setup? But then at the same time, where they got y'all fucked up is all of this that is being said now is shit that y'all have said before. It's shit that I've seen you saying before. So it might be a setup, but this is how a lot of y'all actually feel. This is what I've been seeing y'all saying before. But the timing, are they paying y'all to come on here and like really like, because y'all are forcing foundational Black Americans to see exactly how evil y'all can be. And I'm not saying every Black immigrant is on that evil shit. I'm saying y'all are too loud with it. Y'all have way too much support behind it. And with all that support, like, I don't know, when y'all come on here and make jokes about slavery, make jokes about how you came to this country, you had a choice, and we should shut the fuck up because we didn't even have a choice. And we should just, like, and how we're pushing our oppression onto you. What do you expect us to, like, feel? Because the only thing I feel is disgust for you. The only thing I feel is, like, yeah, I'm gonna mind my business and stand for the people that are gonna stand for me, and that's not y'all. What are we supposed to take from it? Like, when y'all come on here saying, like, oh, fuck Black history, fuck the history of the enslaved people, I need this month to be about Jamaican people. I need this month to be about African history, because that's where, like, that's real Black. What do you expect bitches to, like, what reaction do you expect? And it's almost like y'all really expect us to just take it and be like, okay. It's so crazy. So at that point, it's like, y'all must be getting paid to push out this bullshit. Y'all must be getting paid to push out hate towards foundational Black Americans in a form of, like, to separate us from the, like, Black immigrants that do need help right now. Because it just don't make sense. Like, it would be one thing if you were hating and the hate was, like, understandable. But y'all are just spreading misinformation. Y'all are just acting like white people. Y'all are just acting like the white people.
I broke down how they took our lands, when they took our lands. I even gave you verbatim government documents, time periods and all. There's no excuse. And all those people that's yelling and screaming, talking about Africa this, Africa that, go there. We not stopping you. Go to Africa. Go live there. See if you can blend in. Ain't gonna be nobody standing there, welcome my brother, or you are American. There's no problem. Everything you need is here. Everything you need. Follow me. And ain't gonna be nothing like that, Slim. You gotta get in where you fit in, just like everybody else out there. You think it's gonna be a way better living in Africa? They fooled the people like that went on ahead and agreed with the American Colonization Society. They made pretend like it was gonna be a better way of living in West Africa because certain parts were not fully populated, but they were fully colonized. Oh, you gonna leave one colonized land to another one and think that's gonna be a better way of living? That's why it was less than 15,000 of them that went. Everybody else was like, kick rocks. What Negro problem?
Man, no lie. I think I'm starting to despise the people that say that they not from Africa, the Black people that say they're not from Africa. I say I'm not African American, I'm just American. I was born in America. We are the only ethnic group that doesn't know, doesn't care where we're from, and doesn't take pride in being from somewhere else, as well as being American. If you met or grew up with white people, they know where they came here from, where their grandparents from, and they take pride in that as well as being American. We're the only group that, like, don't want to find out and completely write it off and say that we're just American, which I believe was the plan of the slave owners in the first place, was to take us from our homeland, make us forget, and make us hate ourselves. There's no better indication that it worked than a nigga getting online and saying, I'm not from Africa, I'm not African American, I'm just American because I was just born over here. Bro, that's exactly what the fuck they wanted. That's pissing me off. Just say you don't want to know. You don't know and you don't want to know. Don't completely write it off and say we don't look like them, we don't whatever like them. Bro, we are them. That's the only proof we got. And we were here first. We are the real Native Americans. Where's the proof? And show me a Native American that believe your story. Most of those Oneidas, Menominees, Potawatomis I know, they don't believe that shit. My grandma told me I was a Cherokee. Say that to an Oneida. They're gonna think that's funny. That's a joke, bro. So why don't we just don't say we don't want to know? Instead of putting online that we hate ourselves and we hate each other. That's what's going on with Black people, bro. And it's just so fucked up. We like the only ethnic group that's not connected to a culture or a place, and we don't care to be. We just think that being a color and subscribing to that and being from here is the be-all, end-all. But being a color and subscribing to that we're from here is accepting the fact that our lineage begins with us in bondage. Why is that enough for y'all? It's not enough for me. I want to know more, if I can know more. Like, my lineage wasn't just shining shit and coming from building a country for nothing and being a slave. Like, I don't get it. We gotta do better, please. This shit's starting to piss me off, low-key.
For real, same thing here. I'm an immigrant, but I'm starting to feel like all the other immigrants come to America, say they want a better life, but they want to bring their country here. I didn't come to America for America to become my country. I came here because America is organized, civilized. There's a land of opportunity. You people do not come here to be an American. You come here to rob Americans. When I tell you I've reached a level of like people being ignorant to America, like, and just because you're an immigrant does not mean you're not supposed to support America and only support your homeland. If your homeland is the only thing you want, go back there. I'm always going to say this, and y'all going to hate me forever. But as an immigrant, a legal immigrant who did the shit, it took me 15 years for me to get my motherfucking naturalization. Y'all are wrong. Immigrants, y'all are wrong.
Not me just having a realization that the rest of the black diaspora have been real quiet in regards to telling black Americans that we don't know where we come from. Ever since that orange man got up on TV and said that birthright citizen was only instituted for children of chattel slavery. Where y'all at? Okay, where y'all at? Okay, it seemed like that was the platform that y'all was standing on so hard, that we were orphans and we don't know where we come from and we not this and we not that. And it seems as though y'all influenced the entire international community to think that, like, I don't know, I guess I don't know how that immigrant narrative came around, but we've been screaming as a collective community that we know exactly where we from, that we could trace our lineage back further than a lot of y'all. Okay, because my people was already settled while Africa was still being reshuffled. And y'all refused to believe us. And it took a goddamn felon getting on TV and telling y'all what we've been screaming for decades. Now, I don't hear nobody online saying that about black Americans. Embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Well, have you seen this post? Afro-Americans scare me because they actually think they're from America, and most of them don't even know African countries or that they Africans whose ancestors were just stolen. After 400 years of slavery, you think I don't know that? Anyways, I got there before she cut the comments off. For real, I asked a black guy from America visiting Norway what's his ethnicity. He said he didn't know. And when I asked him if he was curious to find out, he said no, and he didn't care. That's the scary part. They just accepted their destiny. I mean, I was a child. I wanted to know where I was from, even when I was born in Switzerland. This is an ignorant thing to say. They were sold from their land into slavery. Of course they don't know. Why would that be used against them like it was their fault? Doesn't matter if you don't know. That's one thing. But most black people don't want to be connected with Africans as it's a bad thing, talking about how we not the same. But that's not what you said. That's not what this post was about. Why does everybody think that we think that we're native to this land? I know the rest of the world cracks jokes about like the American education system, but do y'all really think that them palm people let us forget where we came from?
What makes it different from the US, yeah? Like, we kind of like claim our roots a lot more. I mean, I feel like we are more kind of like culturally diverse.
Is it weird when African Americans don't know where they're from?
Yeah, strange.
It's not really our fault though.
Look, FBAs, we gotta stop supporting this false narrative that we don't know where we come from. That is straight up bullshit. We know exactly where we came from. We have been in this country, in the United States, since before it was the United States in 1776. We've been here since before that. So this whole narrative of, black Americans don't know where they come from. Like, how, like, that doesn't even make sense. How many generations do you got to be in a country before it is actually where you're from? Like, all of that other stuff, like, we're a mixture of a wide, long range of West African cultures plus other stuff. So how can you even sit up here and say that we're supposed to be from a specific place? That's stupid.
I feel like people of ethnic race in the UK, like, we tend to bond more with other people.
Yeah. See, British Africans here get mad at me when I say I'm American. I am African American, but my granddad's been in America. So technically, America's all I know.
You're an American citizen. Do you know what you...
Technically, he's an American citizen. Okay, yeah, he's an American citizen, but he's an American natural, like, he's a natural born American. He's a literal American. Like, y'all don't come at white people with this bullshit. You only come at us because we have brown skin.
What? No, ethnically.
I don't know.
I would find that strange. I feel like I wouldn't really have a personality.
What? No, that's.
You wouldn't have a personality just because you're from. Okay, let me gather my thoughts. You wouldn't have a personality because you're from the United States or because you're from Britain or whatever. Like, first of all, this is two totally different things. Being from Britain and being a black British person is totally different from being a black American and FBA. So on. That's totally different things. Y'all are immigrants in Britain. We are not immigrants in the United States. That is the difference. Anybody don't know, oh, well, you're an American citizen, like we're an immigrant. But I'm not no immigrant. We're not immigrants. This is our country. We built the country into what it is now.
A hot take. You wouldn't have a personality because you don't know where you're from.
Like, I take pride in where I'm from. If we just didn't know where we was from and was just walking around saying we're British, like, we don't feel like we have a culture.
If we didn't know where we were from, we didn't feel like we have an identity and a culture. This shit is really annoying. Like, and the reason why I'm irritated by this is just because I know that they're speaking out of just pure ignorance. I don't even think that they're trying to be offensive, but this is literally the ignorance that probably the vast majority of black Brits actually think about Americans. Like, they really think that we're just like this lost nation of immigrants that has no clue where we came from. Like, no, we are from here. We're American. We are American, guys. Just because we're brown does not mean that we're not American. There is no other country. It doesn't exist. There's all of that shit is gone. It's done. All of that West Africa, this done. It's a done deal. That shit is lost, gone. It is not relevant at all.
To bond more over food as well. Just call yourself American, mac and cheese and greens. That's just so like.
Soul food is part of Black American culture because it stems back from the slavery days.
And then for her to sit up here and talk about like soul food, like mac and cheese and greens, like that is our culture. That's our cultural dish. Like, you wouldn't be saying that about any other dishes from around the world. The only reason why they talk so much shit about us Black Americans, about us FBAs, Solons, the only reason why they talk like this about us is because we are naturalized Americans on this soil. And this is not a country that is ran by people that look like us. Okay, that's really the real of what it is. That's the reason why they don't be clocking the Caribbeans and the Jamaicans and all of them. That's the reason why they don't clock them like the way that they be trying to clock us, is because we're not ran by people who look like us. We don't have a country full of people who all look the same. We don't come from a country where everybody looks the same. This is a melting pot. And it's really weird that she said in the beginning of the video, when she's like, you know, we're more culturally diverse over here. It's like, this is literally the melting pot of the world. But anyway, aside from all of that, I feel like there's a lack of respect for FBAs, you know, Black Americans, because of the fact that we are not actually the owner. Like, we don't actually run shit here. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are still technically living under our oppressor, you know, in a lot of ways. So that's probably really what it is, but that doesn't make us any less American. And I think that that's the part that they're having a hard time, like, wrapping their head around.
Black Americans' culture refer to the traditions, values, creativities, spirituality, language, style, resilience, and life experience of people in the United States who are descendants of enslaved Africans/indigenous people. It was born out of African heritage, the trauma of slavery, segregation and racism, and the continuous fight for freedom and dignity. Instead of being erased, Black Americans transformed pains into power, creating one of the most influential cultures in human history. Black American cultures include music, language and slangs, fashion, food, religious and church traditions, activism and civil rights movements, art, literature, sports, film, and more. It is both resilient and voluntary. Now let's talk about music. Most every major music joins trans back to Black Americans, traced back to Black Americans. From blues to jazz to gospel to R&B to soul to rock and roll to hip hop to rap. Acts like Louis Armstrong, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson have shaped music globally. Today, hip hop is the most dominated global youth culture. From Lagos to London, Turkey to Toronto, people dress, talk, and create music influenced by Black American sound. Even immigrants who came to America often adopt Black American music first because it defines American pop culture. Let's talk about language and slangs. Since we have always been talking about Black Americans do not have anything. Black Americans develop a rich linguistic tradition called African American Vernacular English, which is the AAVE, common global phrase that started in Black communities. Lit, woke, on freak, slay, period. These words are now used worldwide on TikTok, Instagram, and in global markets. Black American speech patterns shaped the world like comedy, internet culture, memes, entertainment. Even immigrants in America often adopt Black slangs because it drives youth culture. Now let's talk about fashion and style. Streetwear culture came from Black communities. Global fashion trend influenced by Black Americans. Sneakers culture, baggy jean, hoodies, braids, cornrow, locks, gold chain, urban luxury fashion. Brands and designers worldwide copy styles that started in Black neighborhoods. Let's talk about the civil rights and global freedom movements. Black Americans didn't just influence culture, they influenced global justice movements like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, inspired movements in South Africa, Caribbean, Europe, Latin America. The civil rights movement helped shape anti-apartheid, I don't know if I'm not pronouncing that well, movement, modern human rights activists, protest culture worldwide. Black Lives Matters became a global chart. Now let's talk about the sports and global entertainment. Sport leagues like the National Basketball Association are globally popular, largely because of Black American athletes. Icons like Serena Williams have reshaped global sports culture. Black Americans dominate basketball, American football, track and field, boxing, Olympic spinning. Hollywood film, comedy, and televisions are heavily influenced by Black American storytelling. Now let's talk about food culture. Black American cuisine, often called soul food, has influenced American food overall. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, barbecue tradition, Southern cooking tradition spread globally through American restaurants and media. Now, how Black Americans shape immigrants in America. Many immigrants came to US and learned English pathing through Black Americans, music and pop culture, adopt fashion and slangs, participate in hip-hop culture, entered industries powered by Black Americans, sports, music, entertainment. Black American culture is often the gateway to understanding American culture. Why Black American culture is so powerful? Because it creates under pressure. Out of oppression came creativity, came rhymes, came innovation, came influence, and also leadership. Black Americans turned survivor into style, pains into poetry, struggles into sound. Final truths. Black American culture is not just American culture. It is a global culture. From music charts to fashion runways, from protest charts to sports arenas, the fingerprint of Black American is everywhere. The world has enjoyed it, the world has copied it, and the world continue to be shaped by it. Is that clear? For those ones that have literally decided that the only problem they have are Black Americans, always talking about why they don't have culture, why they don't have this, why they can't remember their parents, why they can't remember their roots. I hope you also know that in any country you come from, Black Americans have touched your life positively only. They paved way for you to be able to come to America. They made you who you are. So the earlier you realize and respect the Black culture and understand that it is not even a thing to be debated, the better for you, especially as an immigrant. Because I'm not even in America, but I can't even say that. Because one thing I do before I say my things is I go deep into research to understand people's history, people's roots, what they've been through before I come here to say anything. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you liking, commenting, sharing my videos, dropping commentaries, dropping super thanks, joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. Thank you so much for staying stick and hook with me to the end of this video. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying that, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.